When William R. Norton moved to Phoenix from Los Angeles in 1893, there were only 3 other architects listed in the city directory. Norton was an energetic personality who created hundreds of structures over his nearly 40-year career. His legacy in Arizona is reflected in the houses and buildings he built in Phoenix, Prescott, Globe, and Winslow, and in the existence of Sunnyslope, the name he gave to a subdivision he opened in 1911. Norton was born in Massachusetts in 1853, but spent his entire professional career in California and Arizona. He arrived on the West Coast in the late 1870s and first referred to himself as an architect in 1881 when he opened an office in Los Angeles. His business grew steadily in the booming Los Angeles market, and by 1883, the newspaper reported that Norton's projects made a pretty good showing for one architect. His works included commercial buildings such as the recently restored Boyle Hotel in East Los Angeles, and residences that ranged from small cottages to elaborate Queen Anne Victorian-style homes such as the Winyate in Pasadena. In 1891, after contracting a serious case of pneumonia and experiencing a number of foreclosures in his subdivision and townsite projects, Norton moved to Prescott, Arizona for a new start in a healthier climate. The Norton family, which consisted of Norton, his wife Mary Emma, and their 2 young daughters, Alice and Mabel, lived in Prescott for about 2 years. During that time, W.R., or Rob as he was called, partnered with an architect named Colburn in the Architectural, Building, and Contracting Company. At least 2 of the Victorian residences the company built in Prescott have been restored, the homes of Henry Goldwater and Jake Marks. By 1894, Norton had moved his practice and family to Phoenix. Over the next 15 years, he designed and/or constructed at least 50 homes, 20 commercial buildings, and 2 subdivisions. In the early years of his Phoenix practice, Norton bought and sold homes and lots within the city limits and in adjacent suburbs known as additions. He was very active in the West Capitol addition between 19th and 23rd Avenues and from Van Buren south to Harrison Street, where he built his Victorian home on lots he purchased in 1897. It was restored recently using both city and private funding and currently stands at the northeast corner of the I-17 access road and West Washington Street. The West Capitol addition in the late 1890s was a desirable location. Realizing the area's potential, Norton joined the Capitol Syndicate, a group comprised of 6 building contractors plus himself as architect. In 1899, they announced plans to build 18 homes in the addition. One of the first homes built was located just a little more than a block from Norton's 1897 Victorian. It belonged to J.B. Doherty, a syndicate member who was a plastering contractor and real estate investor. Other turn-of-the-century 2-story brick homes that still exist in the Capitol addition were probably also built by the syndicate. This example is on a lot that was first purchased by another member, J.B. Long, owner of a hardware supply. Norton's largest commercial building in Phoenix was the Ford Hotel at the northeast corner of Washington and 2nd Avenue. Built in 1895 at an estimated cost of $40,000, the 3-story hotel played an important role in early 20th century Phoenix. It was torn down in 1969. Another building by Norton was the Southern Pacific Railroad Passenger Depot, built in 1903 near Central Avenue and Jackson Street. The name of the depot changed at least 3 times during its 20-year life. Initially, it was referred to as the Maricopa and Phoenix Depot, then the Arizona Eastern, and finally the Southern Pacific, before being replaced in 1923 by the newly built Union Station, shared by the Southern Pacific and Santa Fe Railroads. Perhaps Norton's best-known local building is the Carnegie Library on West Washington. Norton's preliminary plans for the library were accepted by the Phoenix City Council in February 1905. The final 1908 structure reflects the work of Norton and Williams Hawks Reeves, an architect from Peoria, Illinois, who revised Norton's drawings before their final submission to the Carnegie organization. At the beginning of the century, two of Norton's architectural projects were located outside of Phoenix. One was the Arizona building at the 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis, displayed on this souvenir spoon. The other was the Navajo County Bank in Winslow. This building is still in use and located in the town's historic downtown commercial district. Norton's most significant projects outside of Phoenix at this time, however, were in Globe, where he was responsible for two of its largest downtown buildings, the Gila County Courthouse and the Trust Building, which later became the Pioneer Hotel. Although Norton's motivation for seeking commissions in other parts of the state is not known, he was so favorably received in Globe when he first arrived in 1906 that he opened an office and conducted his business from there for the next 3 years. One newspaper reported that he was involved in designing or supervising a dozen commercial and residential projects within the first few months of his arrival. In addition to pursuing his architectural commissions and duties as city building inspector, Norton, between 1898 and 1905, found time to establish a homestead near Central Avenue and the Arizona Canal. His wife, a music teacher, preferred to see her students at the couple's home in downtown Phoenix. As a result, the Nortons claimed 2 residences on the 1900 census. Both were listed in the city directories, with the homestead described as Knobby Knoll, 8 miles north on Central. During the homestead years, Mr. Norton may have regularly commuted between the 2 residences, a journey of an hour or less by horse and buggy. When Norton's projects in Globe ended, he returned to Phoenix and incorporated a family-owned development company to manage his land holdings. Instead of continuing with his first name for the area, Knobby Knoll, Norton registered both the corporation and subdivision he opened there as Sunnyslope, a new name derived from a comment made by his daughter Alice on seeing the sun reflected off the hills in the area. Norton submitted 2 subdivisions on the day he incorporated the development company in January 1911, Sunnyslope and the Brentwood Tract. At the Sunnyslope subdivision, he documented 192 lots southeast of Central and Dunlap Avenues. Several miles south near Buckeye Road and 15th Avenue, he filed the much smaller Brentwood Tract. On each parcel, he named an east-west road after his friend John T. Dunlap, recording Dunlap Avenue at Sunnyslope and Dunlap Street in Brentwood. Norton sold his Sunnyslope lots without improvements such as water, utilities, or buildings. He also required the buyer to agree that no hospital, boarding house, or sanitarium used for the care of the sick would ever be maintained on the property. These exclusions were placed several years before the area saw the large influx of tuberculosis sufferers following World War I. Within a few years of incorporating, Rob Norton's involvement in the business began to decrease. Each of his daughters patented their own 160-acre homesteads, and by 1920, Alice was listed as principal on Norton's subdivision, the second parcel opened by the corporation in the area. W.R. continued to be listed in directories of the 1920s as an architect, although no additional commissions are known for him after 1912. Norton remained in the area until his death at the age of 85 in 1938. Edna Phelps, a longtime resident of Sunnyslope and chronicler of its history, believed that Norton and his family deserved to be recognized in the Sunnyslope community. At her instigation in 1981, a newly created park at the corner of Hatcher and 12th Street was named Norton Park, in commemoration of the Nortons' historic contributions to the area. Thanks for viewing.